Today we're going to talk about the power of making a difference. One day, a young boy and an elderly gentleman was walking along a seashore. As they were walking along the seashore, they were scattered along the shore starfishes after starfish after starfish. The elderly gentleman stooped over and grabbed the starfish and started hurling it into the ocean. And as they walked down the beach, he kept grabbing a starfish, hurl it in the ocean. Grabbing a starfish, hurl it in the ocean. Grabbing a starfish, hurl it into the ocean. The young boy looks at the old man and says, "Sir, there's so many starfish, we cannot get them all." And the older gentleman looked at him and said, "See, son, for that one, it made a difference. For that one, it made a difference." As he kept hurling them into the ocean, for that one, it made a difference. And that's what we're going to talk about today, the power of a difference. When we look at the power of a difference, we have to realize we cannot help everybody. There's some people that we won't be able to help. There's some people that when you try to help them, you can't help them because they will refuse your help. There's some people when you try to help them, they will belittle your help. And you have to know when to dust off the dust off your shoe and keep walking. There are people that you will want to help but won't need any help. And you cannot help somebody who's not willing to be helped. And that's what we're going to echo today, the power of a difference. We could all make the difference in people's lives. I like teaching, I like tutoring, I like mentoring, I like cultivating leaders. And it's a tough thing because a lot of times you always have those people with a chip on their shoulders, and they have that chip on their shoulders and they're not teachable. And because they're not teachable, they can't learn anything. There's some people who are resistive to education. Some people think because somebody is educated, then all of a sudden they just push it away, not realizing, yes, we all don't have to have a degree. We all don't have to go to college, but we all need to be educated. You see, education is not just a piece of paper on the wall. Education is having the skill set, the necessary skills that you need to survive in life. Being educated, it's also being able to weld, being able to do electrical work, being able to work in the oil field, being able to do work in home, being able to do carpentry and building homes and building machinery and operating machinery. That's education as well. You see, a lot of times we put stigmas and things, and because of those stigmas, it prevents us from growing. Because what we do, we have these mental blocks or these stigmas that we put on it, and it prevents us from being teachable. It prevents us from learning anything. We all need to be lifelong learners. We all need to be people who are sharpening our tool. The people who are getting better at what we are. The people who are sharpening our skill sets. When we step into rooms, we should all have the capability of making a difference. Making a difference in people's lives, making a difference in organizations, making a difference in our workplace, making a difference in our homes. We should all have something that we could contribute, and that contribution should bring about a positive difference in the lives of others. You know, whether you're going to church, it's not just warming the pews. You see, you got to learn to do things. So as you learn to do different things and do it with the spirit of excellence. We've gone from a society who thought of a spirit of excellence as the key bedrock for everything, to a society where when somebody tells you they did something, you literally have to go back and check to make sure they did it, because we don't have that making a difference, the power of making a difference. You see, when we work, our work should speak volumes. Our work should declare who we are. You see, people shouldn't have to say, oh, I couldn't believe they did that. You know, what you do it with such a spirit of excellence. It should reflect who you are. It should bring about a difference. I was talking to someone yesterday, and I shared these thoughts that I was shared with when I was a young person, when I was a wee little kid. I was told, never belittle anybody else, never talk ill about anybody else, never belittle what somebody else is doing or what somebody else did. In order to make a difference, just go out there and let your work speak for itself. Too many times what we do, we belittle others, and by belittling others, we cannot step up to the plate. We belittle the guy who is batting, and then we laugh about him and we say all kind of manner of evil about him. But when we go up the bat to bat, we can't bat because we do not have half the capabilities that person has. So instead of belittling others, go out there and make a difference by learning how to contribute, learning how to let your work speak for itself. Go to your work and do your job to the best of your ability. When you could serve others to the best of your ability. When you can learn from others. The good book says iron sharpens iron. So learn instead of belittling. Learn to make a difference. Learn to cultivate that nature of moving forward. Learn to cultivate that nature of doing things with a spirit of excellence. Each time in the fall, I like cooking soups every Saturday. I cook vegetable soups and I use a variety of different types of meat. And I know when I plug in that crock pot and I get all my ingredients, cut up all my herbs and spices and everything, chop them all up, cut up all my vegetables, and I have my meat seasoned and marinated the night before, and I pour everything with the chicken stock or whatever I'm using into the crock pot, and I know it takes 4 hours at high to cook my soup exactly like how it needs to be done. Before that soup is done, I have to add seasonings and I have to add salt, because if I don't add salt and I don't add seasoning, it will taste bland. So what we need to do is to go out there and be the salt. Be the salt in every situation. Be the salt in every circumstance. As we are being the salt in every situation and as we're being the salt in every circumstance, we bring about flavor. You see, we don't need to be blamed in our actions. We need to be somebody who makes a difference. So I want to encourage you as you go to your day today, go out there and make a difference. Teach somebody how to read. Encourage someone. Give somebody a word of encouragement. Instead of belittling the systems, instead of thinking, oh, it's all about me, think about it from try and see it from the other person's perspective. A lot of times we get so needy, it's all about me, that we forget to realize the other person is not Jesus. They don't walk on water. They're human beings just like us. They mess up just like us. If you cut them, you'll see blood, just like you'll see with each and every one of us if we get a cut. You see, if you squeeze them, they'll hurt. They're human beings. They have the same characteristics that you do. They have their faults, they have their failures. They're not perfect. You see, and we go out there and we want everyone else to be perfect and we don't look at ourselves. We have to learn to look at the person in the mirror. We have to learn to look at the reflection that we see in the bucket, because from that reflection, we would learn quite a bit about ourselves. What is reflected in the bucket is usually what you are. So society or circumstances will have a tendency of giving you what you're giving off. So let that soak in a little bit. We'll talk about that in the next video. It's one of those amazing things when you talk about the difference, is that it doesn't matter how small you are, you can make a difference. You could have, no matter how educated you think someone is, or not educated. The good book says, in Proverbs that, we all should seek for wisdom. And as we seek for wisdom, we get common sense. And a lot of times, when you're around people who are wise, wisdom equates to common sense. And when I talk to people, all would I say, just give me some wisdom. Share with me some wisdom. Or better yet, share with me some common sense. So you see, as you get wisdom, you get common sense. And as you get common sense, then you're able to go out there and you're able to have access to people. And you have access to people, you're able to make a difference. Because those people will make a difference in your life. And you go out and make a difference in someone else's life. So I want to encourage you today. Go out there and learn and understand the power of making a difference. Don't forget, hit the subscribe button below. Hit the subscribe button below. And when you hit the subscribe button, don't forget to select the bell, because by selecting the bell, it'll give you a notification to when I add a new video. God bless you. Have a wonderful day and go out there and make a difference. You can.